Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. I've got something a little bit different for you today, definitely something that may be of interest if you're a Focus RS MK2 owner like myself. Today we're looking at the infotainment system specifically. Now remember of course that this was a car sold between 2009 2011 and things have obviously moved on significantly in the last 12 to 14 years. To put that into perspective, the iPhone 3GS was Apple's latest offering when the Mark II Focus RS came out. That really feels like a long time ago. Of course, Android Auto and Apple Carplay didn't exist at that point. The factory offerings were reasonably decent for the time, I would say. You had the Sony units, you had the touchscreen sat-nav, obviously depending on your spec. I did make a video explaining the differences between the Lux 1 and the Lux 2 and the RS a while ago. I'll try and remember to post a link to that video too. So anyway, my car is a Lux 2 car with the factory sat-nav and the reverse camera, top spec back in the day. I remember really liking this unit at the time, and truth be told it still works okay. The sat-nav does the job, although it feels a little bit slow, and I can make calls and stream music via Bluetooth, albeit with a fairly basic interface. The trouble is, we've all been spoilt with the widespread adoption of Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, and of course, with that, Google Maps, Waze, Spotify, so on, you know what I mean. Once you've gotten used to it, anything else just seems kind of archaic, really. The more I've used the RS system lately, the more I've been longing for a more modern system like I've had in other cars. Specifically, I love using Waze or Google Maps for navigation. It's super fast to stick in a destination if I'm out for a drive with friends. And obviously the speed camera warnings are pretty handy too. I'd done quite a bit of research online and I couldn't find any sort of conversion kit to add Android Auto and CarPlay to the existing touchscreen. The only way to do it appeared to be retrofitting an aftermarket unit. This looks simple enough if you own a Lux 1 or a non-Lux RS with the Sony radio, but with my Lux 2 the climate controls are built into the main nav unit, plus I have the reverse camera to think about. I'd spotted a couple of guys on the forums who claimed to have done it by retrofitting separate climate controls and a new fascia, but I couldn't see a definitive how-to guide, hence this video really. So in this video I'm going to take you through all of the parts that you'll need to do this conversion, using and keeping as many of the factory parts as possible, and then also a step-by-step process to actually do it yourself. Some of the parts in this guide will also be relevant to Lux 1 and non-Lux owners who simply want to change their stereo, and also, to be honest, for some owners of other Mark II Focus models such as the facelift ST. The first thing that you're going to need, of course, will be a new stereo. In my opinion, your best bet will be a doubled-in touchscreen of some description that works with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. These units are readily available from brands such as Pioneer and Kenwood. This particular unit is a Kenwood and I paid a little bit extra to get wireless so that I don't have to plug my phone in for short journeys. I'll stick links to all of the parts I used in the description too. You're also going to need a fascia adapter, and not the obvious carbon piece that I'll get to later, but an aftermarket part that changes the shape of the standard Ford oval radio to a normal double-din. So I purchased this piano black one from Connects 2. It has a slightly nicer finish than the cheap plastic ones you normally get. As you can see, I've already bolted it to the stereo here. The next part will likely be the hardest to find for you, I'm afraid, the Lux 1 carbon surround. These things are super rare to find secondhand. I believe Ford still sell them, but apparently they want something silly like 300 or quid for them, and please don't pay that, it's not worth it, it's literally a piece of plastic. But if you can find one secondhand on eBay, just take your time, they do pop up eventually. eBay or Facebook Marketplace, probably expect to pay anywhere in the region of between like £20 and £100 for it. The carbon one was only fitted to Lux 1 RS models and also ST facelift models that had auto climate control, hence it's not that common. You can also get these in other colours if you're struggling, so from other Focus models like titaniums and things like that. So I've also got a silver one that I was planning to wrap or dip if I couldn't find the carbon one that I eventually found. Obviously not using the silver one now. You're also going to need that separate digital climate control panel. So Ford made quite a few of these that look really similar. The one, for example, from the Mark III Focus. Looks almost the same, but it doesn't work. I think it even plugs in, it just doesn't power up. You need to do your homework and get one with a specific part number. I'll stick more info on that in the description, and you can see my part number, I think, in the video here. There's also a black version you can track down if you prefer that. This is a connects to steering remote / quad lock conversion lead. Essentially what it does is converts the Ford loom to the standard ISO connectors that you need for an aftermarket radio, whilst also retaining use of your factory steering wheel controls. Other brands of these are available, but from past experience I found connects to be among the most reliable, just to get the steering controls working without any fuss basically. But yeah, feel free to try whatever brand you want. To go with this, you'll need a patch lead for the steering remote. This is a Kenwood specific one, but you can get others. I think there's universal ones as well that you can kind of tweak to whatever stereo you're using, usually about £7. This is the wiring loom that came with the Kenwood stereo. Next, I've got a Facra to GT5 lead that will allow me to use the factory GPS antenna rather than the aftermarket one that came with the Kenwood. Nice to try and keep the car as factory as possible in my opinion. These sell for about £14. This one is a Facra to RCA that will allow the Kenwood to use the factory Lux 2 reverse camera, only about £8 for this cable. Here we have a DAB aerial splitter with an integrated amplifier. So this allows me to use the factory roof mount aerial to provide both DAB and FM. Remember that Lux 2 cars didn't come with DAB from the factory, whereas Lux 1 did. The splitter was about £20. This one's just a simple antenna adapter that converts the car's aerial lead to the type that the splitter needs, only a couple of quid for this one. Here are a couple of USB extension cables, so these are just going to be connected to the back of the new stereo. This is a wired microphone that comes with the Kenwood. Unfortunately there doesn't seem to be a way to use the factory Ford microphone, but luckily this one's fairly discreet, so not a big deal. Okay, let's crack on with the fitting. You'll need 4 of these release keys to get the stereo out. The first 2 fit in the visible holes at the top. The second 2 are hidden behind 2 covers that you need to gently pry off. Click all 4 of these in and the factory unit should release and you can pull it out. Disconnect all of the connectors and you should be left with this. Here you can see the 2 connectors for the climate controls, the main Ford loom, the GPS connector and aerial, plus the reverse camera lead. Next you'll need to remove the outer carbon frame by taking out these 4 screws. Now that the factory unit is out, I'm going to remove the glove box in preparation for running the wired microphone and the USB cables. There are 7 screws in total to remove from the inner part of the glove box. You'll also need to disconnect the aux connection if you have one and the cooled glove box switch. Once that was out, I removed part of the door seal and unclipped the top of the pillar trim so that I could feed the microphone all the way from the top of the headliner, down the pillar, across the back of the glove box and to the stereo. I also fed the 2 USB cables through at this point. The 2 USB cables I ran through a gap in the glove box hinge. I know it's not the neatest and I might change this later, but it also does mean I don't need to drill the glove box or anything like that. I then refitted the glove box. The cooled glove box pipe work is a bit of a fiddle to get back on properly. I personally find it's easier to drop the fuse box below the glove box and then go up from there in order to reconnect it. Next up, back to the workbench and I spliced together the wiring loom. So this is the Connects 2 loom joining the Kenwood loom. Just want to flag that no part of the car's factory loom needs to be cut, so I can easily go back to standard with no damage if I ever wanted to. The pink wires here join for the car's speed pulse connection, purple and white for the reverse feed, purple for the steering controls, blue for the powered aerial splitter, and green for the parking brake connection. I connected up the loom and there's a serious amount of wiring to find a home for behind the dash. On Lux 2 cars, the climate panel will hang loose until you fit it to the carbon fascia. This is basically because Ford cut away the brackets in the factory to fit the Lux 2 nav unit. Testing the unit for the first time, it's a good idea at this point to test all of the features, make sure everything is correctly wired up before you put it all back together. Here's the main stereo bolted in. You can use the screws that held in the original Lux 2 carbon frame. Fortunately, there's space behind the climate control panel for some of the wires. I think you'd struggle otherwise. Clip the climate controls into the carbon surround and then clip the whole thing into place. Now time for a proper test. The climate controls appear to be working, thankfully. As does the DAB, loads of stations. Testing wireless Android Auto. Trying out the reverse camera. It engages with reverse and even the lines and parking sensor indicators work. I was later able to turn off the second set of the lines in the settings so it works just like the factory. I ended up taking the unit in and out a handful of times to adjust the position slightly. I wasn't quite happy with it originally. This was just done by using the different screw holes on the side of the stereo unit to make it sit flush in the dash. And there we go, that's it. A fair bit of work, but I didn't think it was too bad. I hope you found that interesting or useful if you're thinking about doing it with your own Mark II. I'm certainly over the moon with it, and I really like the look of it now. It feels like I've been able to kind of bring my Mark II RS bang up to date in terms of in-car tech, which is awesome. If any fellow Mark II owners have any questions about the process, please let me know in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. Also, if you haven't already, please take a moment to like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. Thanks again, and see you in the next one.